You know, we've really embraced this minimalistic lifestyle, Gina.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
You mean the part where you own 4 jackets, but yet you wear the same hoodie all week long?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow, Chris, I don't think that's minimalism.
Well, okay. Well, then it's just laundry avoidance.
Well, that was pretty smart.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy your spin cycle, listener. It's the Riveted with Chris and Gina.
I feel smarter already, Gina.
That's a good thing, honey.
Just by knowing that we have this amazing guest on our podcast today and everything he's accomplished with his writing and so forth, I feel smarter already just in being his friend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Did he rub off on you whenever you met him?
No. But, listening to his first book and then, getting ready to start the second one, I feel more like a writer. I think I probably should.
Oh, no, don't.
I think I'm going to start writing, actually.
No.
Why?
Leave it to the professionals, baby.
Well, yeah.
You might show up as a character in one of his books one day.
I could see that happening probably. The more we hang out and get to know him, I think you're right. Well, listener, you're in for a big treat. A
really big treat.
We went to the International Rally last month and met a lot of new Airstream friends, and this gentleman was one of them. He has written some amazing books. Don't have anything to do with Airstreaming, but he is a avid Airstream owner and enthusiast.
Yes, him and his wife.
Yep, from the wonderful state of New Hampshire. And he's enjoying a beautiful fall day up there right now. And we're excited to have him on the podcast. His name is Andrew Bridgeman. So glad to have you on the Riveted with Chris and Gina.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here. What a nice introduction. And I feel smarter to be with you guys too.
Well,
Chris needs all the smartness he can get.
I need every bit I can. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big reader. I mean, I'll admit I'm not. I don't.
You're
read.
not a big listener either.
I do listen. When I'm told to do something, I listen. But I don't do a lot of reading. But it is amazing to meet people that have written amazing books and stories and so forth, and you tie that into similar interests with being Airstream owners, and we got a lot to talk about. So
we do have
excited to chat with you today.
Yes,
we always like to chat with guests about their Airstream entry point and just learn a little bit about their life with an Airstream, where you were in life before you decided to get one, how long, all those good things. And
we like the juicy details.
Yeah.
If you have any of those, just jump on in with that.
But it's always fun to chat about that, and we can't wait to talk all about your books as well too. And so yeah, just tell us a little bit about like what life was like before you got your first Airstream. And
well, from a camping standpoint, we did a little bit of tent camping when we first got married. We were staying at my in-laws' house, and while we were waiting for our first house to be built, and we just needed to get away on the weekends, so we would go tent camping, and then we raised the kids and hadn't really done much of it. And we got to this point where we were thinking about, getting a second house. We live in New Hampshire. It gets cold here in the winter. And we thought maybe it would be good to find a place in Georgia or Florida or someplace like that. And then the more we thought about it, the more we thought that was going to be kind of limiting, not knowing the area or the people, or and then we started thinking about, well, maybe we'll get a camper. And then it led very quickly to getting the best that we could afford and getting an Airstream. So my parents had done a lot of camping. They'd gone to Alaska. They did not have an Airstream, but they had some about every problem you could possibly have, including a pretty good accident in their trailer. And I said, "You guys went through hell with this thing. Would you do it again?" And they said unequivocally that they would.
Oh wow!
And so absolutely. So it kind of took a little bit of that trepidation away. So it was during the pandemic, or maybe just before, whatever it was we ordered the rig, and then we experienced a bunch of delays. Ordered a truck and experienced a bunch of delays. And then I called around and to place in Michigan and all over the country, just seeing, hey, do you guys have a 30-foot Globetrotter by any chance? And of course, nobody had any inventory, and they thought it was funny that I was asking. And then I called Colonial in New Jersey, and they said no. But he was nice enough to take my name. And then 2 weeks later, he called and he said it didn't work out with one of our customers who had ordered this. Do you guys still want a 30-foot Globetrotter? And we said, we'll be there tomorrow. So we drove down, got that. Of course, the truck wasn't ready. So we had to buy one off the lot for full retail. They were very proud of their truck. They were very upset to see it go, and they made us pay a little extra for the privilege of getting that truck.
Man,
I like that description.
You weren't the only one.
There was there was a lot of financial rationalizations going on that year, but we got it and we did it. And then our first trip out of the driveway was to the International in Freiburg, Maine, which is 45 minutes up the road.
Very nice.
Yeah. What a way to just jump in.
It was nice. And then, we got a sense of the community. Hadn't even met anybody in our New England chapter at that point. And it was really nice. I think one of the things that, we'd lived in the St. Louis area for about, 20 or over 20 years. And we had a great sense of community there. We couldn't walk a couple blocks without, visiting with people for a half hour or more. Then we moved to the woods of New Hampshire. And we kind of lost, we were in a beautiful spot and on a lake, and it's gorgeous, and I see mountains in the background, but we lost that community, and it's going to take a little while to get that back. And we found that camping was a great way to meet people. And last week, we got invited to go down to the Maine ocean side and park there and camp with friends. So it's been a really nice way to acclimate to New England also. So it's done a lot for us.
Yeah. So the friends that invited you, are they Airstreamers that you've met?
Yeah. We do a thing called Rolling on the River in June, where we all grab our musical instruments. My wife plays the harmonica, I play the guitar and a little bit of piano, and we just get musicians from all over New England, and we have a rally out there for a weekend in June. Usually it's Father's Day, and it's a great time.
Yeah,
Wow.
Sounds like it.
All right, so Gina, this guy is a writer and a musician.
Yes.
Both.
Yes.
I mean, that's like so inspiring. Can't I do at least one of those things?
I wish you could, honey. I really do wish you could.
That's awesome.
Yes.
See, we didn't even know about the music thing.
Yeah. I've lived a sordid, a strange life for sure. I for a while I was a singer in a 7-piece jazz band that toured around the St. Louis area, and it's not like being a rock and roll lead singer where everybody you're the diva. When you're a singer in a jazz band, you're kind of the guy that gets people their drinks, and they you start a song and then they play around for 8 or 9 minutes doing something that I don't really understand, and then they tell me that I missed where I was supposed to come back in to finish the song. So it's not as glamorous as you can imagine in your head.
I guess maybe in a jazz band, the singer is one of the least members to contribute, like all the other.
No, it's the least important. That we can just say it.
Yeah.
It's the least important.
The least important. Okay, well, just the fact that you
got on stage and did it.
Well, no, I was gonna say just you can play the guitar, you can play the piano. I mean, that's
He
great.
can sing. He can write. Do you dance?
No.
Oh,
no,
you don't dance.
I'm a double threat, not a triple threat.
Oh, okay. It's like the 2 left feet kind of thing.
Well, I'd like to
It's not pretty, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'd like to ask, like, the transition from St. Louis to New Hampshire. That's a pretty big change of geography. Was that just to kind of get away from that city and get out into some more beautiful countryside and like be inspired to write, or just ready to live somewhere different? What was that move like?
Yeah, it's a good question. I grew up in New England and Pennsylvania, and met my wife in the Midwest, and she was a Midwesterner. I think the kids helped us make that move. My son went to college in New Hampshire, and my daughter went to school in New York City, and neither of them, or they both were very clear that they weren't going to be moving back to the Midwest. So that if we ever wanted to see our children again, they kind of held us ransom. So we had to move to the East Coast. So that was an easy one for my wife, and it was great for me because, there's those places from your youth. I used to spend all my summers up in New Hampshire. I guess it's always been kind of my happy place, to be in the woods. And, there's a lot of beautiful places in this country, and New Hampshire is certainly one of them.
Yeah, well,
it is beautiful up there.
We can agree to that, even though we haven't spent a tremendous amount of time in the Northeast. We've traveled some in the Northeast, but we've not airstreamed in the Northeast. We haven't purposely not gone up there. It just seems like, our route has never taken us that far up into the Northeast. We've been to very southern parts of upstate New York and in Pennsylvania and places like that. But like to get up into the New England states, we've not gone yet.
Well, let us know when you're coming up, and we can treat you to, I don't know, a lobster roll or something.
Yeah, I can only imagine that is just one of the most beautiful parts of the country to get out in nature with an Airstream.
Yes, but is that all year, or is that just limited to when you can get out because of snow or weather?
Well, we don't do a lot of winter camping, but we do have friends that do, and they're out there freezing with the propane heater, blasting it when it's 12 degrees outside. They're hardier than I am. They're tougher. They're more manly. We're going to put ours away probably next week.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't know how the seasons ran up there.
Well, how long you could go.
Yeah, how long you could camp.
Well, the campgrounds usually close in, I want to say, beginning of October. It won't be too long that they'll be closed up for the year.
So what's your favorite place to go in New England in the Airstream?
Boy, there's a lot of beautiful spots. And we're still discovering a lot of those spots in New England. I think Deer Isle in Maine was terrific, and just almost anywhere in on the Maine coast, you can get some of these campgrounds where you just back the rig right up, and the ocean is in your backyard, and those places are just beautiful. There's nothing better than the sunrise coming up over the water and just being there. Yeah, it was nice. We just had that last week. It was really, really something.
That's very nice.
And what's the capacity like? Is it you got to book at the very beginning of the season for a summertime spot or a year in advance, or is there availability, with just kind of winging it throughout the camping season to go out and enjoy that?
Well, most of our camping that we do is with the New England Club. So they do all the heavy lifting as far as reserving everything. And then we just, pop in and do that, with the exception of a couple times. We're on a lake, and we don't feel that necessity that we got to get away from home in the summertime. Now, in the wintertime, we've had some big trips and done that. And next year we've got a big trip coming up. So we're still discovering places in the Northeast, but I think probably it's not as hard as maybe it is in Florida.
Yeah.
I think where we had to reserve a year ahead. It's a good question, and I'm not sure I'm the right one to answer it actually at this point.
Well, what he's trying to get at in his line of questioning is the fact that we don't plan. So what he really wanted to hear you say was, "Oh no, just come on up anytime. It'll be fine."
Yeah. That'll help us with the winging it.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys can come up anytime. It's always free. It's great. They're always looking for more people at these campgrounds.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
how'd I do, Gina?
You did great. That was perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
It makes me feel better.
So the first year we had it, we decided to skip winter. Usually it starts snowing that first or second week in November. So we left it in the first snowfall and went to St. Louis, and then dropped down to New Orleans. There's a RV park right there in the French Quarter, and spent some time there. Lafayette, across Texas, had a great trip there, and then New Mexico, all the way to San Diego. That's where we met the Ramblin' Hamlins for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
At a KOA in San Diego. I will say that was my first time towing, and the anxiety level was maybe a little high. Kathy would be like, Andy, there's a huge national park right, like 40 minutes away. Why didn't we park there? When she's asking me this, because we can still see the highway from my pull through. Because I'm like, well, because they don't have the pull throughs at the national park.
Yeah.
So it was things I could have done better, but we got through it, and actually, I think what we learned was that there's nothing wrong with the Globetrotter 30. It's a great rig, but we actually moved down to a 25, and I think that's our sweet spot. So,
Oh yeah.
So then the next year we drove down and actually spent the winter in Palm Harbor outside of Tampa, and that was amazing.
And we will be right back.
I'd like to take a moment to tell you about Patreon and how you can help support the Riveted with Chris and Gina podcast. Patreon is a simple, interactive way to support the people who make the content you love. There's no value that can be assigned, so you can enjoy these inspiring stories of Airstream enthusiasts from all quarters of the USA. But there are associated costs with operating the website and hosting the podcast, in addition to the large amount of time it takes to curate and edit each weekly episode. For as little as $5 a month, the equivalent of a cup of coffee or a beer, you can help the Riveted with Chris and Gina become the podcast of the Airstream community. Becoming a patron also means you will get first-to-know details, free merch, invites to special Zoom-based hangouts, and more. The link to Patreon is in this episode description. Thanks in advance for your support and love. See you down the road.
And now back to the fun.
Congratulations are in order as well for your release of your new book, A Noble Sin. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure that you were relieved and excited. It wasn't too far after your first book, which was The Fortunate Son, correct?
Correct. So, Fortunate Son, I wrote that kind of during COVID. A Noble Sin, I wrote that in the Airstream when we were going across the country. So there's little Easter eggs in there of places like Eloy, Arizona, which is kind of a one-horse town outside of Tucson, and some of the places that we visited kind of show up in the book, and even people that we've met. You were kind of joking about being in the book. We were camping with a guy. And he's like, "Oh, you're right. I want you to put me in your book." And it's funny. And I said, "Well, what's your name?" He said, "My name's Steve Buck." And I said, "Well, that's a great name. Of course you can be in my book." If he said his name was like, Herman Wimple, maybe that wasn't going to be as good. But yeah, so Agent Steve Buck is a friend of ours who is a camper with us in the New England Airstream Club.
How about that?
I love that.
They show up everywhere.
Did that cross country trip? I know your books. For the sake of the listener to understand. They're thrillers. They're very amazing stories about action and
it's full of detail and excitement.
So like on that cross country trip, did you get any kind of inspiration with writing by traveling in the Airstream? I mean, or was it just some of those characters along the way and unique cities that kind of gave you some extra stuff to add in?
Well, I will say that. As you jump into A Noble Sin, the Airstream does rear its head up in a crucial moment in the book. So you can be looking for that. So, and actually on the cover of the book, if you look you might even see an Airstream on the cover there. So, but to answer your question, it's hard to know what you get inspired by. There's so many things that hit you in a different way. But camping is a big part of our lives, and I touched on it a little bit in the second book, but I have a feeling there's more there that I might delve into in future books and maybe different series. So, yeah, it's a good question.
Well, you just kind of answered one of the questions I had for you, because I was wondering if you were going to continue this series with Emma Noble or not. And I mean, I haven't gotten to your second book yet. Chris and I have been listening to the first book, not reading, but listening, because I can't get Chris to sit down and read anything long enough. His attention span in reading.
That counts. I'm in the camp that listening to a book counts just as much as reading it.
You know what's so great about that is that it's kind of like what we do with the podcast. Like we put a podcast out hoping that Airstreamers or people will listen to them on their travel days. Like it gives them some entertainment while they're driving, miles and miles and miles, right? And that's how I look at the books. Like I like to listen to a book as well. And this way we both get to listen to it, if we're doing this on our driving days. And we've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I'll just have to say though, that for me, when I'm driving and I've listened to your book, the storyline and the description of how things are happening and what people are doing, I get so enthralled that it almost like takes my mind away from knowing that I just drove 50 miles.
Right.
Like
right.
It's literally
you're
just,
like, oh, that time went by fast.
Yes, exactly. Because I'm driving and I'm paying attention to the road and all that kind of stuff, but my mind is listening to the story, and the time just flew by.
Oh, that's good. That's a nice compliment. We do the same thing on our long trips. You get a good story. I don't know, like when I was a kid, and I'm not that old, but there would be the radio plays, like they would play old radio plays, and you would listen to stuff that like my dad listened to.
Yeah.
And those things were amazing. They're really, really cool. I've not heard one in forever. But audiobooks are probably as good as anything. I was listening to one the other day. I completely forgot that I was driving for 5 hours.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Well, some of those radio things like you're talking about, they have like some sound effects and things like that in them too, where, the book is all about the way that, it was written and described, the story's being described in words. And I feel like I'm right there in it.
Well, there's enough description in there that it just pulls you right in. If you're visual at all, you can visualize everything that he's describing, and
so
and
not
just
to
pulls you in.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, but like give us like the way you would describe to someone what your first book is about, what the story's about. Like how would you give the casual conversation over a short visit? How would you describe the storyline of the book?
It's funny, you spend a year writing a book, and then just summarize all that for you, Andy. Just go ahead and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting better at it, but it always funny. Like I always tighten up a little bit. Like, oh boy, here we go. No, the way the story kind of came to me, it was a kind of a memory of being a kid. And when I was a kid, I had one of those days that maybe I was just hungry, but it was just that I got home and I wasn't having a very good time with my mom. I had gotten bullied at school, and maybe a teacher had made fun of me. Whatever it was, I was just hoping that some car would come, stop at the drive, pull up, and then say, there was a big mistake. You're not where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be over here in this family, at this school, with all these nice people. And I had that memory when I started writing Fortunate Son. And I thought, what would it be like if you were in your mid-20s and someone came into your work and said that everything you thought about who you were is a lie, that you were actually kidnapped as a kid? And so that's how this book starts. Ben Danvers is a guy working in Boston. The FBI come in and they tell him that he was kidnapped. It was the crime of the century. Everybody knew about this kidnapping, and that his mother is not the woman that raised him in Vermont, a woman that is about to be inaugurated as the vice president of the United States in 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it became a very big story, and I had this FBI agent, grizzled, close to retirement kind of guy, and I realized I needed somebody to talk to him. So I invented, or I came up with this girl in her 20s who was on her first day in the FBI, named Emma Noble.
Mm-hmm. I like
and
her.
I kind of patterned her. I do too, because I patterned her after my daughter, who is a very similar kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
They're very funny, very strong-willed.
Yeah.
So the story ends up being about why this guy is suddenly discovered, and Emma Noble realizes that that there might be an attack at the inauguration, and she realizes she can't trust anyone. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a big book, goes in a lot of directions, and people tell me that they didn't see a lot of the things coming, which is fun.
No, that's the best part of it, though, and I like how it basically, in my mind, I think it's going from one scene to the next. It's like you're getting multiple things at one time, and I love all of that. I love that.
Yeah, and how from chapter to chapter it switches back and forth to different aspects of the story.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I enjoy that too.
Yeah.
I will admit that the FBI agent, the chiseled, rough around the edges FBI agent, I visualize you being him in the story. I don't know why, but I do.
Oh my gosh!
Wait, did you just say you envisioned like that I was chiseled? Because I think we should go back to that.
well,
he did say that. He really did.
Let's spend some time talking about me being chiseled.
If you had on a trench coat and
a trench coat.
Well,
you couldn't tell if somebody was chiseled in a.
I think this just took a bad turn.
This is why he doesn't write or any of artistic stuff like this.
I just envisioned you as that character. I guess I don't know why.
I would like to know where the character Uncle Gunny came from.
That's a good question. I think almost all these characters. I spent a lot of time. Living all over the country, traveling, spending time with different kinds of people. We talked about doing music, but I played rugby for 15 years. I think
you are chiseled then.
Yeah.
No, well, hold on just a minute. You are chiseled then.
If you can play rugby.
Yes.
Maybe there was a day that I was, and I'm sure it wasn't many more than a couple days. But yeah.
All right. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. I think the best characters are just kind of ladled out of your experience of people, and there's just so many people like him that they're loyal and they're cantankerous, and they will go a mile for you or more. Uncle Gunny, it was funny when I wrote him, I didn't realize how much people were going to enjoy that character. So that was kind of a nice surprise when the book came out.
Yeah. No, I love that. I've also been on your website and I've seen how you have played Uncle Gunny. Well, actually, you use his full name on there, though, I think. But I like how you've played him and worked him into your website as well.
Yeah, I needed a virtual assistant. I don't even know if I needed a virtual assistant, but I was looking at the website and I thought it would be fun if people had questions, if they just were able to talk to Uncle Gunny.
Yes.
And
well, what's so perfect?
And he's trouble.
He looks like trouble. No, he looks like trouble. And I think when I first clicked on it to see, because I was so enthralled with it saying, ask Gunny, I thought, what the heck? So I clicked on it and I loved the very first thing it said. Well, you clicked. I showed up. Try not to waste my time. I said, I love this dude. I love this dude. It's the best. Yes.
Yeah. I got some chuckles out of training the AI to be Uncle Gunny. Yeah. And I mean, when you're asking a serious question and somebody calls you Buttercup, it's.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. You did great with that. Yeah.
you did that book in a year's time, like you had it dialed in the way you wanted it and was ready for it to come out in a year's worth of work, or was it longer?
It probably
than that
took a little longer than that.
Yeah.
You know, I took creative writing in college, and it was the thing that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a writer. I think my parents were fairly clear with me that if I chose that path, I would be forever in poverty and would never meet a girl. And I didn't want to be in poverty, and I wanted to meet a girl, so I didn't pursue the thing that was in my heart. And I'm not sure I regret anything. I'm very, very lucky at the life that I've lived. But it was in 2017 that I finally gave myself permission to do that, to become a writer. So I spent 2 or 3 years writing 2 books that I ended up putting in the drawer that didn't work. You know, it's one thing to say that you're a writer. It's another thing to build the foundation and the chops to be able to tell a story in a way where it comes off the way you want it to. You know, I think every writer was a big reader, you know, and I was a voracious one. You know, I know what the books that I love sound like when I read them, and they're not overly done. It's not purple prose, but I can picture everything like I'm watching a movie, and that's how I want to write. And you know, I spent a lot of time trying to make the sentences sing, and you know, words can sound like music if they're done correctly. And spent a lot of time with that. And then when I was done, I kind of plugged it into a system. Like, what grade level did I just write this to? Thinking that, you know, I've got advanced degrees. It was probably be college, and it said that that my book was written at a 4th grade level.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, that's like, come on, man. And then I felt a little redeemed when I read that Ernest Hemingway writes at a 3rd grade level.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, I think if you can get across complicated ideas in ways that they're available to everybody, you know, I'm not going to impress anybody with big words or anything like that. It's unnecessary. But so yeah, it took me. I'm kind of went off reservation, but it took a couple of years of writing just to get to the point where I was at the starting line to write Fortunate Son. And that one took about a year. Got an agent, and then they had rewrites, and we got it published in Germany and Hungary, and they had rewrites. So it took it was probably more than a year, but the big chunk of the book was that part anyway.
That's great. And I know that you've actually done some touring around for promotion of these books too, right? Like you go to book signings and to conventions and things like that.
That sounds like fun.
It is. You know, the best part of being an author is connecting with readers. And I'll tell you that honestly, one of the most fun things, we've done it twice now, has been at the international rallies, you know, where we saw you guys.
Yes.
You know, just having a booth there. You know, the first time Fortunate Son had just come out when we were in Missouri. So it was, people were nice. They took a leap of faith that the book was going to be okay. And then we saw them again at in York, and they were in line waiting for the next one. So
that's great.
That's really fun. But yeah, we've had book signings in St. Louis and in Pennsylvania and New Orleans, and certainly up in New Hampshire. They've been super supportive with the local connection. They've been amazing. So
that's really neat that, well, I mean, you know, Airstreamers are supportive, friendly people. All of them are, you know, so whether your book's about the Airstream life or not, it's just, you know, they're still buying your book, reading it, and giving you obvious compliments that they enjoy it. So, you know, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that read when they're relaxing in their Airstream, and it's great that you got that feedback from one international to the next, that they are ready for the second book.
Well, I was just going to say that some of them bought, like in York, they bought the first one, and then they came back 2 days later, and they had already finished that one and bought the second one.
No way!
So
really?
that sometimes it's kind of, oh yeah.
Wow.
That's sometimes fun. There was one guy that came up to me, and he was asking questions, and his name's Bob. And Bob was asking questions, but Bob was asking questions in a way that I was starting to feel nervous. I'm like, Bob, where are we going? He goes, I'm sorry, I sometimes ask questions the wrong way. It's my training. And then he slides his Secret Service badge across the across. And I'm like, well, that makes more sense, Bob, because I did think that I was like under some kind of weird interrogation there for a little bit. But I gave him a book and I said, this is on the house. You know, I know that people are enjoying the book and that they trust me as somebody that, you know, that tells a good story. But I want to know, could this actually happen? Like what I put together, like, is this something that you guys like?
Yeah.
Let me know. So then I was just a couple of weeks ago, I got a call from Bob and he's like, holy cow. He goes, I need to make some phone calls. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
They're going to need to put some protocols in place for
Yeah.
for
You're going to have people following you around before long.
Yeah.
They're going, oh, what's he going to think of next?
If they look at my Google searches, I should already be in jail.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Hey, that guy's name probably wasn't even Bob.
Well, what I was gonna say about all that is the fact that you said it, Chris, and then you turned right around and said it, Andrew. But that is the fact that you will no longer be able to go to an Airstream International Rally without having a new book to present within the vendor hall now.
I agree.
It's going to be an expectation.
Yes, you've started a precedent already.
That's right.
So, and maybe that's your master plan, which would be awesome. But like a new book each year in the series that you launch at the International Rally.
There you go. I like it.
No pressure or anything.
Yeah. So
that was. I thought maybe I could get out of it. I'm like, North Dakota's pretty far away.
No.
And my wife said, no, we're going to North Dakota.
There you go.
I'm like, all right, I'm working at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what chapter are you on the new book?
Well, I'm about 30% of the way through, and there's a few words that'll probably remain for the. It's my process is ugly. I wish it wasn't. But
I've never heard it explained that way.
Oh gosh, I start 4 different stories, and somehow they all kind of end up at the right place. They're not all ending up at the right place at this point. I think I've got. I'm chasing it down. Chasing it down. But my goal is to have it finished by summer next year, so that it's out in the world.
That's
wow,
awesome.
I was just kidding about that, but that's fabulous.
That's the thing is that it's the thing you sign up for if you're lucky enough to have a book that people read and enjoy. Is you take a year to write it and you sweat blood to get it on the page. And then somebody reads it or listens to it in a day, and they demand the next one the next day.
Yes.
Right.
And so I have signed myself up for just a cycle of hardship. I'm just kidding. It's a wonderful life. I can't.
Yep. Go out and relax in that Airstream and type a few hundred words each afternoon or evening. That'd be nice.
The best part of it is you're traveling to your little club rallies or region rallies or whatever, and you're meeting all these characters or, trudging across they're characters, whether they're in his book or not, but you're meeting all these different personalities and these people that, it might help that writing move along a little bit quicker. See, I hadn't thought about that, but when you think of a process and how to come up with things, I'm sure there's a lot of great personalities that you've met along the way.
Well, I think that's one of the beauties of being an Airstreamer is that there's a lot of personalities in our group for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely.
And a lot of good ones too.
I love them.
Yes, for sure. You talk about your process being ugly or whatever, but like, is there a struggle to keep things you write organized so that you don't get lost in it when you start having so much that you've put down?
Like because of all the different angles or something?
Yeah, like I'll give you, and it nowhere near in the same comparison, but like whenever we write the descriptions for our podcast episodes, or whenever we've got, 3 or 4 to 5 different things going on at one time with social media posts or whatever, it's like all of a sudden I feel like I've got information overload of where all that stuff is, and I don't have a method to the madness of really how to keep it, the information flow going.
Let me stop Chris right here. And let me apologize, Andrew, that he just compared his minute 3-sentence writing to your books.
I know. I'm not trying to compare mine to his. I'm just saying I can only imagine the volume of amazing words and paragraphs that he types.
Well, I heard that introduction, and that introduction was fabulous. So I'll give you full points.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're encouraging
I try
him.
hard, but it is. That's what I just wonder is like the organization of how you catalog it or keep it captured. And
one of the lucky things that I have is I've got a very analytical brain and I've got a creative brain. They both seem to work not at the same time, but with Fortunate Son, I had a lot of people in a lot of different places, and it was fine. But I realized that because it was going to happen over the course of 14 days, and then I thought if I could make it 10 days, it would like this whole thing would really be compressed and more exciting. And then I thought if I can do it in 10, maybe I can do it in 5. And that created the problem that you're exactly talking about. So I had to get an Excel spreadsheet out. I had to figure out where everybody was on every point during the day and how they were going to collide into each other and where they would all kind of come together. And all of those things created creative storylines that I could expound on. So there's a lot of truth in trying to keep track of things, especially if you've got a lot of characters and a lot of places.
Yeah. Like what I'm envisioning is like on the inside of your Airstream, all along the front of the cabinets, or maybe on the aluminum inside walls or something, there's a whole bunch of sticky notes.
Oh my.
And you have all the sticky notes with little things written down, and like you keep moving the sticky notes around in different orders in order to get the story the way you want it. Is that
what goes on in your brain?
Is that the process?
No, the only thing we got sticking is and actually they're not even sticking well, is the fairy lights that my wife has put up inside our trailer that are trying to triangulate me every time I walk by.
I got you. Well,
he's just being his own little character.
I can only imagine the fun it is to get that story out as you're writing it, but then the possible challenge of having so much content that you've put out and making sure that it's arranged the way that you want it for the best possible story, and doing that in a timeline that you need for being ready to publish it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, at its core, you're really just trying to tell a story that you would enjoy hearing yourself,
mm-hmm.
And that's fun. It's not super comfortable when you have spent a year in your own, like walking through your brain and, spilling this stuff all over a book and then handing it to somebody and then going, yeah, I hope this is okay.
Yeah.
So that feeling when it's no longer yours, and it goes out in the world, you just have to cross your fingers and hope everybody enjoys it. And, thankfully, from what people are saying, we're 2 for 2, but it doesn't. I definitely feel pressure as I'm writing this third one. Like, okay, people like the first 2, don't screw up.
Yeah, I can imagine. So
that's interesting. And I don't really know how to ask this question, but it's kind of mulling around in my mind with what you just said. So when you're writing your first book, you're writing it for yourself. When you're writing your second book, you're writing it for yourself with the intent of the reader. But after the second book, you've at least got so much feedback on both books that is there a point where as you're writing it, you're wondering, is this for the reader and they're going to enjoy this, to where it's still, you're writing a book for you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. Even when I was doing the first book, I imagined, as all writers do, that this was going to be a #1 New York Times bestseller and that people were going to be paying attention to every word that I wrote, which of course is never happens. But I kind of felt like potentially a reader could be in the room. With the second one, I didn't actually. I was waiting for my agent to sell the first book. I just wrote A Noble Sin while I was waiting. So at that point, it was actually the more free than anything else, as I didn't think anyone might ever read A Noble Sin.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
That's fair. Yeah.
So those two books have come out now, and they've done well, and people enjoy them. So this third book, I'm feeling a little bit of both of those things. It's now, I feel the pressure to do a good job. It's also the first time I've written where I knew that there were a bunch of readers that were waiting
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is, if you spend time in that part of your thinking, it's unproductive and you're not going to be at your best creatively.
Right.
I think I've got to leave that outside the writing room, and then just kind of keep concentrating on the story. But I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I don't want any holes in the story, and I want characters that either you like or you really don't like, and that you can empathize with, and those things just come with a lot of work, and they don't necessarily come on the first draft. Sometimes it's the third or fourth. So right now in this third book, I kind of know what needs to happen. I just haven't gotten that full first draft down, and I've got to get on the stick, because if I'm going to meet my deadline, I've got to get the first draft done by Thanksgiving, and then work through the winter and hopefully have it be ready.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, we're excited to see it come out when it does. I mean, we still have the second one to enjoy yet.
Yes.
But we, based on...
Well, take your time. Take your time.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If we rush through it too fast and you don't have that third one out there, then we'll be disappointed. No.
Yeah.
You'll be like everybody else.
We'll be
clamoring.
There. We'll be calling you up, going, "Okay,
yes.
How much longer? Come on."
So let's talk
now. Fair warning on that audiobook. I've got my narration debut. So I split duty with the narrator from the first book on the second one.
Oh,
no.
Awesome!
You'll have to. Yeah, so you'll have to hear my voice.
That's great.
I can't wait.
Down the road.
That'll be awesome.
That's going to be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about your readers. I guess we call our folks listeners. You call your fans readers. How do you communicate with them, and stay connected with them and so forth? Like, where can everybody find you on socials or your website, or what have you got going on to connect reader to author?
Well, the best place. You can go to my website, which is andrewbridgeman.com. And on there's a way you can sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter is called The Briefing. And I send that out every 2 weeks. And I think we'll probably go to weekly soon. But my whole goal is to have an authentic relationship with readers and build a community. So probably sometime before the first of the year, we're going to start a book club. And I'll probably do a writer's workshop and have a writer's community. So, they say the best part about being an author is connecting with the readers. I know that as a reader myself, I have questions that I would love to find out what was going through an author's mind when they went through this, when they wrote this, and I've gotten to meet so many other authors that it would be fun to bring them into the community and answer questions if we did a book review or in the book club. So
awesome.
Or on Facebook or Instagrams. But yeah, I think if you're looking for a little closer relationship and kind of getting a little sense of what's under the hood, I would say the newsletter.
Yeah. That's awesome. And they sign up for that on your website, andrewbridgeman.com.
Yeah, there's some. That's the best place to do it. On andrewbridgeman.com, there's a little tab up there that says newsletter. You click on that, and it says, we're building a community here, and I think you put your first name in and your email, and you're in.
Very cool.
We'll be sure to put the links in the description, and of course they'll be on our blog too in the description. So
yeah, it sounds like you've participated in a lot of your local club rallies, and we have as well too. And everybody that's listening to our podcast that are Airstreamers that are enjoying the club's rallies. A lot of times you go to the rallies and it's focused a lot around potlucks or food, or there is other activities and so forth for people to do.
Or music, because they do music at that one rally he goes to.
Well, yeah, all of them. But I guess what I just wasn't envisioning is you've got a local Airstream club, and there's a lot of the same attendees at the monthly rallies, and there should be a book club component to a local rally, like a local club. So like you're
absolutely,
think about it, like you're within the local club, there's a book club inside of that, and each monthly rally or every other rally, whatever time frame you want to do it in, you devote a little time to get together at the book club in person at the rally and do the book club stuff.
I like that. But
you might be onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, you're welcome to use that idea. One
of the things I will offer this is that there are a lot of Airstreamers that are in book clubs, and if you do decide that you want to choose one of my books for the book club, get a hold of me. It's not too hard to, and I'd be happy to Zoom, and you can ask direct questions directly to me. I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
to do
that's cool.
Sometimes, so I'll throw that offer out there.
The trips that you've done for the book signings and some of those other things, did any of those involve taking the Airstream along in tow, or were they more just kind of business related type in and out trips?
No, I think the majority of them, we traveled with the Airstream.
Yeah.
Next year we'll have some, the third book will be out. We're going to be going in May to Fort Myers. We'll probably do a book signing in Tarpon Springs around there. And then we're going to Idaho after that. There's a big bookseller in South Dakota that wants me to do a signing there. And then through the Northwest, which we haven't done much traveling there. I'm excited about that. And it'll end with the rally in North Dakota.
Wow, that's a big trip.
I think we'll be on the road for better part of 4 months next summer.
That is awesome. That's the way to use it.
I have a question real quick, and forgive me for not knowing the answer already, but do you have a like an events or something calendar on your website that lets people know kind of where you're going to be, or how do they find out about these book signings?
That's a great question, because I don't right now, but I probably will. And one of the things that's hard for me is, living in New Hampshire, if there's if somebody says, Andy, we want you to come out and do a book signing and it fits the schedule, I'm happy to do it. But I don't know who else is in the area. As we build these communities with the book club and with the writing workshops and things, I should know a little bit more about where people are. Like, for instance, I think I've got a lot of people that have read my book around the Houston area. So Houston, what might be a really good place to do that. And I guess when I start doing more of that, maybe putting something on the website makes sense. But if you're following me on the newsletter, you'll definitely know where I'm going. And you can always get a hold of me at Andy@AndrewBridgeman.com, and I can I'd be happy to talk with him too.
Yeah. Oh, that was very nice.
Awesome. And I assume best place to purchase your books if they want a hard copy is just through the internet somewhere. Can they buy them straight from your website, or big online retailers, or where's the best way to get it?
I love supporting bookstores. So if you've got a local bookstore, independent bookstore that that if they don't have it on the shelves, they can order it for you. You can certainly support Jeff Bezos. I'm worried about him. I think maybe he needs another yacht, but it's they're all on Amazon.
Yes.
Soon, I think probably around the first of the year, we'll kind of move off of that exclusivity with Amazon and maybe sell audiobooks and ebooks direct from the website. I think that'll be something that's coming. It's kind of one of those things where when you're starting out, you kind of have to live with.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from on the big Amazon thing. It's like you gotta get it out there, start getting the word spread and getting it sold some, and then find other outlets as the book becomes a lot more successful. And supporting the local bookstore thing is very, very great advice. I mean,
yes.
that should be kind of like your first option if you're a really passionate book reader.
Exactly. And you need Amazon when you start. And I think if you're lucky, you write a book and it finds its readers and you get a platform. But, the newsletter, I want to say that there's probably close to 15,000 people on the newsletter. So so now I don't need Amazon as much as maybe I did in the first place. And that newsletter and the community and those kind of things are growing pretty fast. So
that's awesome.
It does. It feels good to be able to do it organically, kind of with the grassroots growth is kind of fun.
Well,
it seems like that would be your most loyal people as well.
Yeah. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you got a lot of loyalty in the Airstream community, and people, realize that you're a wonderful author. Your books are great, but you're also an Airstreamer just like them, So you got a lot of potential, readers just within the Airstream community. And
I tell you what, the Airstream community has been really, really wonderful. I not just for being an author, but how they've welcomed us, my wife and me, into the groups and in the international rally. If you had asked me, 10 years ago, do you think that I would have a camper and go all over the country at, going to these rallies? I would have said, no way. And I don't think we're probably going to miss any. It really is great. And every time we have a better experience, it seems like every single time. It's great because you meet old friends and then you meet some new people that you can't wait to see again the next year.
That's right. Yeah.
We feel real lucky about that. Yeah, they've been great.
Well, and that's fits right along in with the theme of our podcast. I mean, you said you've done a lot in your life up to the point of starting writing, but adding an Airstream to it as well has brought you some additional, benefits besides the, adding in the books and the writing to your life. So that's awesome.
So moving forward, do you see yourself to always write thrillers, or I guess political thrillers, or?
That's a great question.
Or are you, thinking that, hey, I might switch this up with something a little different and try my hand at that?
I wanted to write, remember that I was telling you about the first couple books that I put in the drawer.
Yeah.
They weren't thrillers as much as they were historical fiction.
Okay.
And I read those kind of books when I was growing up, and I couldn't get enough of them. I love the idea of reinventing myself and I don't want to be derivative. I don't want to, write the same book that everybody else has ever written. I don't want to write the same book that I've written. If my characters aren't on a journey, then I'm going to lose interest, So I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I'm completely open to anything, probably with the exception of romance. My wife would probably tell you that would not sell well if I tried that.
Well, I mean, you could put some thrills in there and it might.
Well,
do some twists and turns.
I've been trying to put thrills into my romance for 33 years, and it ain't working.
I love it. Wow. I love it.
I know that
Chris is trying to, Andy.
But based on how we've enjoyed your first book, and I'm sure your second's going to be just as wonderful. You've got this down, and just staying even with that genre is going to be wildly successful. So
I agree.
Yep, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for giving us some time, and we always like to talk Airstreaming on our podcast, but it's always fun to learn about the passions that Airstreamers have.
Yes, and what they're doing with it.
And what you're doing with it. And your writing and your books are a great addition to the Airstream community. So,
yes.
Thank you so much for the time.
Well, guys, it has been so nice to chat with you. Thank you. And to everyone that is an Airstreamer that's listening, thanks for welcoming us in. It's been great. And if we haven't met you yet, hopefully we'll see you down the road sometime.
Absolutely.
That's very nice. Thanks for tolerating us, or Chris.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, it takes a lot sometimes, but
look,
we got through it.
I
honey.
told you,
Gina, you play a very important role in this.
Oh, I do.
I just understand how much we all appreciate you.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, darling.
nice.
I appreciate that.
Yes. Well,
yes.
I'm just kidding with Chris.
I would agree with that statement completely. She does play the straight role really good, but it is a.
Oh, is that what I'm playing?
Well, you're keeping us on track,
Oh, okay.
But
whatever you think,
like I said at the beginning, I mean, I feel smarter, just knowing that I know an author, accomplished author.
And I'd like to call him a friend as well,
yes.
honey. Yes.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to see you guys again. Hopefully it won't be too long. And if you come up to New Hampshire for those free open sites
there you
next
go.
summer.
Yes,
I like that. I like
awesome.
that.
We'll connect.
Hopefully we can cross paths before next year's international for sure, and see you down the road for that. So, all right, well, enjoy the rest of your amazing fall day in New Hampshire, and we will we'll talk with you soon. Thanks, Andrew.
We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you down the road.
Woo.
We've come a long way. And I only say goodbye because, we never say goodbye on a caravan. But we'll be seeing you down the road.